Oh yeah, sweet. Clean the air filter. Nice.
That's like actually a wow.
So it's really bad code. A lot of stuff is hard coded and so on. And most of the work has been done by Aaron in the because I only use his stuff. So so what I'm using is his Quill. What is it called?
Are we live on the stream? Yeah, the stream's good.
What is it, Aaron? Could you explain? Just quick.
Quill is a simple app for posting text notes to your website.
Gina, could you, for one of the demos, like say your name, your domain, even if it's on the screen.
Okay.
And your Twitter handle for our people that are remote.
Twitter. I mean, okay. So I'm Gina, and my website is gina.net, and Twitter handle is Gina. So quite easy. So okay. So what I did was I implemented micropub, so I could use some third-party application to post to my own website. In the long run, I want to make a indie reader where I can like stuff and comment stuff, and to do that I needed the first step to just to be able to push anything to my website from another application. So let's try it. So what I needed to do is to implement this a couple of lines in the header, which is here, and I just used the IndieAuth authentication stuff. Let's see, GitHub. Then I can't. Micropub live test. So in theory, I also implemented the in reply to and Twitter and Facebook stuff, but I forgot that I forgot to add it the code call to the web mention function, so it doesn't work. So, but had I had half an hour more, then it would have worked. So yeah, that's it. Let's see. So success, and let's see on my website. It's there. Ta-da!
So I spent a little bit of last night buying a domain. What's that? Oh,
Your name and website and
I'm Jeff Graham. Twitter handle is jgraham909, which is the same as the website as well. And so, which just got registered last night and set up. So I set this up today, running on top of some Go code, which is pretty short.
Did you say running on top of GoCo?
Go code, Golang, Go language. Oh, yeah.
GoCo is a self-contained screen printing. I was very confused.
Okay. And then spent a good chunk of the day making sure that I had the appropriate H card set up, as well as had IndieAuth working. And then pushed the repo up on GitHub. If you want to take a look at it, it's not too much, and it's very sparse on documentation at the moment, but it is there and has a roadmap. So if anybody else wants to take a look at that code and try it out, yeah, that's pretty much what I got.
Oh, that's cool.
My name is Mike Sugarbaker, trading online as Misuba most of the time. My website is gibberish.com, but that will not be the operative website here. We'll get into that. I seem by some miracle to have gone from 0 this morning to my first known plugin. And it is a plugin for multi-user sites that lets you do this thing. And I'll show you my known install intended as a multi-user site. This is the front page, which is just everybody, but I'm the only one who posts, so never mind that. But once you go to a profile, you get these little colors on things. And it turns out to be really, really hard the way I set it up to get this combo of colors to look any good at all. So I can put an unbounded number of hours into that, I'm sure. But if I'll just sign in here.
Now there's someone who
Passphrases for the win, my friend. Yeah, this is a brand new tab in settings. These are HTML5 color fields. I sure as heck did not code this up by myself today. And let's just make this as garish as possible. Yeah. Darkness. No parents. All right.
Woo! That actually looks great.
That doesn't look too bad, does it? It's a little bit fast food, but I'll keep it. All right. Yeah, and that's me. And that is up for people.
So I decided to not do like, you know, a scalable, easy project, and instead decided to redesign my entire website. So that I'm not done. Just also, I initially tried to do it and push it out in production. My website is anomaly.net, as is me everywhere else on the internet. And I essentially attempting to redesign my website meant that I fixed some key things. So now I have my notes over here, which is what I use for all of my replies and my things that essentially are mainly like Twitter and Facebook posts that I don't consider blog posts. I attempted to get Teacup working. As you can see, currently all of my coffees are posting as the date, so that needs to be worked on. And then I updated these. So this is what my website was looking like. This is what all of the DNS is not updated on here.
Hates me.
So this is what I'm going to, my website hasn't had an update in the way it looks in probably 5 or 6 years. And so this is what I'm going to do. And I got like halfway through this. But so now it's going to be dynamic and scrolling, and that's what it's going to look like now. Yay!
Cool.
But
Very cool.
that's maybe in many weeks.
Okay, so I'm Paul Monday, and my website is paulmonday.net.
And I'm Tyson Van Overhill, and my website's just a Tumblr page for right now. But it works with WebAuth, so hey. So basically, the idea of this is to kind of take the commenting web mentions and leverage that to fill out our book libraries and our book collections. So basically, actually I want to go there. So that's not what I want. That's what I want.
You can get it from books.
Yeah, books.
That's a book.
That's the
Or
one I want.
books.
Let's just do that. So
This is something I publish. I'd like to publish quotes, so
I see, I follow Paul's page, so I will see that he's published this quote. I decide to go and read the quote, and on my own site, I throw up a review. When I am posting my review, though, I can point my review as a reply to his post here, and because he's marked his up that his post connects to his collection, it will parse it, find the link to his collection, and then find a link to another catalog page. So this would be like the canonical catalog, like a WorldCat page or an Amazon page or a library thing page that has way more information and markup than anybody's personal website will ever need. But I can go back to my my review thing here, and I can say, okay, I only want the author, the publisher date, and whatnot. So I can kind of filter what I want, but I pull the most accurate stuff from the most canonical source. So I have to, with minimal amount of knowledge of the book, I get as much of the actual details about the book that I can. So all I need is either a URL of someone else who has already done it, or if I do a Google search, for the book and whatnot, just find one of those canonical page or a page that links to a canonical page, like a publisher's website or an author's website. And then the nice thing is everything has links through the whole thing, so that whoever is the most canonical gets the Google juice because they have all the links, all these links pointing to them. So yeah, it's really rough. We've kind of got the standard.
Yeah, do you want to show them how it's marked up?
Yeah. So yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. We just make sure, whether it's actually, let's do it with the one off of your webpage. Baltics. So yeah, so it's pretty straightforward here. It's just an H item with some basic information in there. It includes citation links and the catalog link here that can go in with the UID. It marks the catalog links with UIDs, and if there's no catalog link, it just looks for the UID. So it's very iffy both ways, and we kind of have a bit of a walker up and going. So here I went to my review. It looked in my review. From my review, it followed the link to Paul's library page. From Paul's library page, it then went to the master catalog page that had all the information. It returns all of the information that you could possibly want on the book, and then all you have to do is trim out any of the array keys that you don't want, and then drop it into your templater, and suddenly it's on your site. So, as long as you also include a link back to the the canonical source there, you can so you can leverage web mentions. If you write a review of the book, you can web mention back to the actual canonical source, like the publisher or whatnot, that you've reviewed the book and here's your review. So lots of stuff there. Right now we're kind of for books, but we left the syntax as wide open as possible beyond the URL, where the URL has to exist in the tree.
H-item isn't really defined at the moment, but it's designed for this kind of thing. So
and it uses pretty much all the other standard micro formats, either the review format, the site format, and the item format. And we're hoping to potentially generalize this with not just books, but say DVDs or Blu-rays or CDs, sort of thing. Having those items there. But yeah. Anyway, so that's everything.
Can you add these?
I don't know, probably.
I tried to work on 3 things, which is probably more aggressive than I should have tried, but I got 2 and some fraction done, so I'm okay with that. The first thing I wanted to work on was getting the design of how you should mark up comments if they're in a post. somewhat solidified. And this is based on a bunch of us experimenting with actual posts in the wild, and then looking at people's practices to see which one looked like best practices, trying to reason it out, and then documenting it. So, short answer is, this is if you have a blog post or some note or whatever, you have an H entry. Of course, this is like an article, so it has a specific name. And now I'm of course seeing that there's a bug in that markup, and so I can't help but want to fix it, right? H1 closes with an H1, not with a closed div. All right. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. You close the H1, so simple author H card there, and then your content, of your post. Now, after your post, you probably have some comments section. This is just like to demarcate that. You can put whatever you want in terms of display. But the comments themselves should use, each one should use a P comment class name as far as like being a comment on the H entry, and then an H site, assuming that there are indie comments that you've received like from somewhere else, which is our main use case. And the reason is that when you're just putting a comment on your own site from someone else's site, your copy of the comment is not the canonical copy. It is literally just a citation of the comment from somewhere else. Now you might include all the content, and that's okay. The first thing is that we have a author H card, and in this case, marking it up with just a link and the text there. And then the next thing is, if the contents of the comment are small enough, which is typical, you just use P content and P name to avoid the implied P name, and you put all the text of the content of the comment. And the reason for that is that it is much easier to just get the text of a comment and get that right, rather than try to get all the HTML of someone else's comment and then attempt to do sanitization or leave yourself open to some sort of markup injection attack or something. So there are some folks that may want to try that advanced form of doing it, but for the simple case, I wanted to cover that. That's sort of like the minimal. If you want to add one more thing, you can also add a permalink to the original comment, which you probably should add, and you can mark that up with URL with the comment permalink, and then DT publish inside with the date time of when it was published. And that's a very common convention that people hyperlink the time of a comment to its permalink. Okay, so that's step one. So anyone publishing comments, try that. If you find problems with it, let me know. Speak up in the channel, add to the wiki. Anyone who's consuming comments, which I think there'll be other demos that talk about, this is a rough structure that you can depend on. That there's a P comment that has an object like an H site, perhaps an H entry, and then it has a bunch of other properties that are fairly well known. Okay, so that's the first thing I got working. The second thing was, I showed on the first day my scope styles, where I can have a blog post that has its own custom styling.
That works in Firefox.
This is Firefox I'm showing you right now. If you look at the post on its own permalink, it actually covers the entire post, and that's deliberate. That's the intent. But what I got working today is, if you go to, say, Safari, you'll notice that there isn't a giant rainbow behind everything. And if you scroll down, it works exactly the same.
Yay.
But, well, there's one more. If you go to Chrome, again, there's no rainbow covering the whole thing. And if you scroll down, you'll see that also works the exact same way. So that's two. So I got that working. I will document the technique for what I use to make that work cross-browser. The cool thing is that I put all that work into my back end of my publishing system, not into any of the authoring side. So what I, as a whatever content author, have to do to make this work didn't change at all. So the back end knows to take the style, custom style that I put in, do some magic to it so that it then works cross-browser. Which is,
question.
Yep.
So do you post CSS into custom style, or how does it work?
That's exactly what you do. Yeah, you post a style attribute, a style element inside your H entry, and you put a style rule on .h-entry, so that you're saying I'm styling my entire H entry in this way. Yeah. And that could obviously be simplified with a UI that would say, hey, you want to add a style rule to your, here's how you do it. Type some CSS and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so that was 2. The third thing that I wanted to work on is redesigning my site and getting it to look good on mobile, which of course is kind of a crazy, aggressive thing to try to get working. So let's see if this works. Can I switch to VGA? It sounds like we're playing Pong.
You said PGA, right?
Yeah.
You already worked with those. Can you take out the HDMI?
Like unplug it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah, hey.
Oh wow, okay. So this is my first goal, was to get my homepage to look decent on mobile. And I had a lot of this working, so the fixes I had to do weren't too much. But I think I did a pretty good job, because one of the things that I did is, you'll notice this URL at the top here. That used to not wrap and extend past, which meant that if I swiped from side to side, it would actually swipe from side to side. So that's gone now. So now it only scrolls up and down, which I think is a big, nice usability thing. And the text is actually pretty readable, whether it's a note or it's a bunch of likes or it's an article with a title. And I tried to get like the white space on the edges of it just enough so it pulls the text away from it, but not so much that the text was too narrow to read. So I feel pretty good about getting that working. The only improvements that I think I would like to do here, and I'll just show you guys this, is in this stream view, or I guess I should say the next improvement I want to do, I want my photos to be full bleed. Because I think that is what people expect on mobile. Instagram has set a standard there, and I think it looks really great when the photos do go all the way out to the edges and you use as many pixels in the device as you can to see the photos. So that's as far as I got.
John Benson, JohnEricBenson.com. I spent most of my time, I spent all of my time going through those first steps. So I got IndieWebCamp working for my site. I coded in for my blog page, and as soon as I go back and get my password to my web server thing, I can set up my database on the other end and keep going. Yay!
My name is Sarah, and my URL is themostawful.com.
Whoa.
Yeah. Why is that zoomed in? No, okay. So when I first got here, or before today, my website pretty much looked like this, with a background and links in the bottom right corner, and it just scrolled to the bottom like that. And it's, I don't know why it's cut off, but
So what's your Twitter?
Super is Sarah. Yeah. Right there. But today, I was able to get a couple posts up, and one of them was a web mention to Aaron's post asking for replies. And then I also was able to set up a web mention endpoint on my site, so then I replied to my first post with a third post. And it was really exciting. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Yay!
This is my website, treecat.net. It doesn't say it, but my name is Brian Richter. I'm also treecat pretty much everywhere. So what I did today was added some microformats to existing discussions. So here's an example of a discussion on snowdrift.coop where there's lots of people and lots of posts. It looks, like the standard thing. So what I thought I'd do is I'd go in, and we already have all this information here. We've got names and icons and dates and data. So I just wanted to get familiar with the microformat nouns, the H's and the E's and the U's and whatever else there is. So I started with a little test, a smaller discussion here, just a few items. And then I went to the code, and after a while I came up with these changes. So I just added an H entry for the top of the comment, and added an H card and a P author for the section describing the author. And great. And I just keep happening. Here's a photo. What else do I have? DT modified. That was fun because I had to go and change the code that we have for rendering dates. I made it so it actually did the proper format for. So I got a function here for. So I'm getting the timestamp, and this is new where I'm creating the proper format for the date time.
Is that when it's been first published, or is that when someone edited the?
This right here is the. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I didn't change this. I made up this word and then I went and saw that there's actual other words. Okay. But I think this. I'm not actually even sure what that is. If it's the published or last modified, because there is a modification capability. So those were the changes I made, and let's see, what was I going to do? I wanted to demonstrate how I was operating. So since I was doing this locally on a local version of the website, I couldn't use the one where you pop in a URL and it to parse out the micro formats and see what you've got. So instead, I found this one where I could actually copy out the HTML, the source code for the site, for the page, and pop it in. So, and then I didn't want to be copying and pasting all the time, so I made a little script here that do it for me. Oh, and that time it failed, of course. Why would it work properly? Oh, I know it's not working. I'm in the wrong source directory. Let's just change that. There we go. So this is what I am generating now. And actually this is for the whole discussion. So there's an items that has the different discussions. Here's one item. We've got so we have a type, it's an H entry, we have the properties, we have the author with the author's URL, name, and photo. I'm not even sure if this is all the right format yet, but at least it's being popped out. So that's pretty much my accomplishment. And I feel like I got a little bit more familiar with, with these things, the URL, the name, the photo, and what goes where.
So this is all like, you're doing this on a multi-user site too, so. Yeah. Just like a new.
Yeah, so there's some interesting things. I'm not really sure. So for instance, the URL for the author is the user's page on the site. So right here, we've got it /u/1. And it would be interesting. I mean, it's totally legitimate, I think. And it would be cool if in the future that there's going to be other values there than links to the same site. So that's that. Cool.
So one of the pieces of micropub is bearer tokens. It's the micropub endpoint has to basically get a bearer token from a micropub client request to sort of decide whether or not the person making the request is authorized to do it. It's pretty simple, but there are just some complexities in terms of where the token can live in the request. And so I was rewriting all of this into one module, one JavaScript module that, where did it go? That basically sort of abstracts away those complexities so that you just get sort of a single function that says here's a request, you run it through this module, and then out comes the bearer token if there is one. So just a humble tiny piece of the puzzle, but
I've got tests running. Green arrows, yay! So, woohoo! Okay, so that's it. So eventually I'm going to be using this, but for today I'm in a working module. So I haven't published it yet, but it'll be on NPM or something eventually.
So no, I don't quite have a before and after, but I did demo before yesterday, and while it looks different because I applied a different theme, the reason for the theme is because it's one that fully supports microformats too, so that this is a WordPress site, right? So I spent a huge amount of today just wrestling with WordPress things, because it's all, sort of automagic behind the scenes, and all the stuff that I knew about how it worked didn't quite map to what WordPress wanted to do for me. So there's still a few things that I want to clean up for where I am in the whole sort of IndieMark thing. One of them is the H card. Right now, this avatar over here is part of an H card widget, which is not actually a fully fledged H card. It still throws a please fix things when I IndieWebify it. So I need to fix that. I set up okay, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I set up web mentions and went up reorganizing the site a little bit because trying to think ahead to what I'm trying to do with it and who my likely audience, now that I've actually gone live with it over here. So I wound up making, I want to do this on the left side eventually with categories, but I've got menus for for posts, for article type posts, and then for other sorts of things post. I had an amusing time publishing to Twitter, so there's some slightly funny things on both the site and Twitter. But yeah, so sort of basic IndieWeb things are up and running, and I am doing a lot of learning of WordPress as much as IndieWeb right now. So that's it.
Okay, Kartik Prabhu, who I think is in Chicago, got a new HFeed to Atom converter built and working today, written in Python. So if you want the source code, it's on GitHub. github.com/kartikprabhu/hfeed to Atom. Nice, easy to find name there. And then, of course, as any good IndieWebber would do, he deployed it and is now self-dogfooding it on his own site. So here's his post about it. I'll just read it out. He got tired of his Atom feed breaking every time he made changes to his site. Since the Atom file is mostly invisible, and he referenced the problems with that, side file anti-pattern, I wouldn't see the break for a long time. So as my project for IndieWebCamp 2015, now generating my Atom feed from the HFeed markup on my homepage using this service. So rather than to have like two different code paths in this custom CMS, one to generate the Atom and one to generate his homepage, the HFeed, he just generates his homepage now from his CMS, and then he has a separate service, as far as I understand, that's running this HFeed to Atom converter that reads his HFeed and then converts it to Atom for anyone that wants to subscribe to that. And as a result, I think he's gotten rid of some tech debt, which is always a good thing to do, in his own publishing platform. So I think that's about it. If we look at his Atom feed, I mean, it's XML, you know. But I think that's pretty cool. Literally wrote this like today, as far as I understand. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, and if anyone has a reader that consumes Atom, they could use this to consume HFeed. So if you have an open source reader, or if you know of an open source reader that like uses Python, for example, because I think this is written in Python, you could just submit this code, and then that reader would also support HP. So that's another good side effect of this. So thanks, Kartik, for that building block. It's awesome.
I was working on two things today. One was totally unintentional, but I'm very glad I was prodded to do it. It is updating the wiki about IndieWeb things. And previously the content on here had been kind of scattered around all of these pages, and kind of hard to tell what was what and what you should be looking at, and there was no obvious ordering to them, and some of them were misleadingly named. So I basically went through and renamed a bunch of pages, pulled content, moved it around to where it would fit better, and then wrote this little header for the page, which kind of outlines what the pages are and in what order, so that you can actually get a sense of what to read. So if you have any questions about implementing IndieWeb for MicroPub, this is now a pretty good place to start finding links to all the other docs. And basically the IndieWeb protocol bit up on the top is building each layer up so that you start out by just doing realm-auth, so that you just identify with your domain. Second one is identifying with your domain without third-party OAuth providers. And then the third one is getting access tokens so that MicroPub clients work. So they build on each other that way now. And hopefully it's easier for people to follow that. And yeah, thanks to everybody who was working on MicroPub clients today, because guys pushed me to actually do this stuff that's sort of been on the back of my mind for a while.
We should do it for MicroPub too.
Yes, definitely. But at least with MicroPub, there's fewer moving parts, kind of.
In fact, like this started out as being about MicroPub, and then this became the August 1st bullet point, is figuring it out.
Yeah. So that was the first part of the day, and then I only had like 2.5 hours left to work on the SWAT 0 bit, which is what I was really trying to do today, and managed to pull it off anyway. So we have a little live demo, which is going to require some remote people, so there's going to be a delay since the stream is about a minute behind. So start with. Let's start with the summary. So I'm up here, and first thing that happens is Ben takes a photo of me, and different Ben.
Ironic.
Here's the photo he took.
He just did it.
He took this a couple minutes ago, like 10 minutes ago, while the other demos were happening, and tagged me in the photo. So this is the way he does tags. And what's supposed to happen is that I get a notification that I was tagged in a photo. So
unplug the laptop.
This is what happened on my phone. And now for the live demo part. So I got that notification, and that's step 2. Step 3 is somebody sees that photo in their reader. And this is already one of the remote participants who's using a reader, either Kyle or Kevin. I think we're both testing this out earlier today, or who are going to see that Ben's photo in their reader. And whoever sees that is going to post a reply in that reader. And what should happen is I should get a notification on my phone that that somebody commented on a photo I was tagged in. So if I really want to push my luck here, I can wait for the notification to come in.
There it is.
Not quite. That was not quite. That was Ben updating the photo. So that was the Ben tagging the photo. Don't make that one. I hope that wasn't the real one I was expecting.
Kyle updated.
That was a different photo. Get rid of that. Let's see if there's any comments on this. Oh, that Ben updated the photo was actually Amy hitting the like button, which sent a web mention to Ben, and then I don't parse likes yet, so I just saw it as an update. But at least that part worked. Is anybody confirmed they're going to send a comment on IRC? There we go.
Oh, both.
Two of them. I got two of them in a row. Look at that. That deserves a screenshot. So now if I go back to the computer. And refresh. There they are. 2 comments.
Leave that one up again.
Sweet.
So what reader were they using? So Kyle's using...
Presumably both were using Woodwind.
Okay. And they had signed into their own sites?
They
Woodwind?
had signed into Woodwind, which is
Let's show that.
show Woodwind. So I can actually log in as me.
Yeah, you can comment on the photo.
I can comment on the photo too.
Oh my lord.
I think I actually might already be logged in on Twitter. Nope. Okay. No. What? Twitter?
So you're gonna have lots of things to authorize with.
There's a blast at that.
I hope that's right. Yes. There we go. So this is an example of what they saw was Ben's photo here, and I can actually comment on this to show you what happens from their end.
Interesting that you don't see the other comments.
That's the reader. The reader doesn't parse comments and display them.
Yeah.
It probably should, but
Because you could be commenting saying, thanks Kyle, right? It's
well,
a little bit better.
I'm following Kyle in the reader, so I do see Kyle's comment. But that's because it's on his site.
Oh, the photo there is the...
And that's the reply context in Woodwind. Anyway, this is what they saw in their reader was this post, and then I'll say post that, posting success, and what that did is it actually posted it on my site using MicroPub. So I used Kyle's app to create a post on my site, and
Does it say you commented on the photo that you're in?
it's not going to say you. It's going to say AaronPreckett.com commented on a photo that you were tagged in. It's been there it is. It's been fun because as soon as I got this notification text sending to me, I'm just immediately finding edge cases left and right of like how I need to tweak notification text.
Yep.
So this is one of them. It needs to say you commented on a photo you were tagged in. Or probably shouldn't show up.
That's a good confirmation.
But yeah, it's a good confirmation. But there's all sorts of those. So it'll be fun to keep whacking those moles as they pop up. So yeah, that's what I did. And that is a fully functioning demo of SWAT Zero across 3 different implementations.
At 3 different locations.
3 different locations. Yeah.
3 people, 3 locations, 3 personal sites, 3 implementations.
Okay. Now I need to find the share my screen button. Okay, so Okay. So what I did, I took the idea we had before of the indie cards and reworked that as a hover card, and the hover card basically pulls out the H card and displays it in this way. But this is designed to work in an iframe. So in Note Alive, I'm now injecting the iframes. So as I have been typing these up, it's been putting the little hover cards on the left and the things on the right. And I've got some layout glitches that make it look a bit crappy, but they're actually, each of these embedded hover cards is an iframe that's pointing back at Hung. And then what I did was make, I had to make Unmung cache because it was reloading the iframe each time I typed a new line, and Tantex was taking 8 to generate. So it's now cached. It takes a few milliseconds to generate. Well, to regenerate. And I may have just posted this to my site. Let's see if that works. And now we'll see all these iframes load really slowly. There we go. So what I need to do is make these iframe code a bit more helpful when people haven't got H cards in the way we'd like. So at the moment it's just sticking the URL in, and I can probably fall back on other markup and so on. But for now, it's looking for H cards, photo, name, and note. So there we go. That's the beginnings of a demo. And they were supposed to be hover cards, but I'm too bad at CSS to make them hover, so they're just inlined at the moment.